Hello, my name is Dr. Wesley Carr, and I'm here to tell you about a new patent-pending product called the Ambidextrous Magazine Retention System, or AMRS, that I've developed, and it's going to help change the world of sport shooting for a lot of people. But first, I have a question for you. If I were to give you this ammunition, a magazine, and this pistol, and ask you to reload it, could you do it? I'm fairly certain most of you could. Now, what if I ask you to do it with only one hand? That's a unique question that sparked the creation of this system, and the man who posed it to me was just as unique. About a year ago, a patient came into my office for a normal eye exam, and after we finished, we were sitting talking, and I asked him what he liked to do for fun. When he answered that he liked to shoot, I was really excited because I had started sport and competition shooting locally. So I asked him if he shot in any competitions like the local one I shot in. The look he gave me told me I'd hit a rough subject, and when he answered me, I realized why. He told me that he would love to, but didn't shoot in any competitions. In fact, he didn't shoot around other people that often. You see, he has hemiplegia of the right side of his body. When he was stationed overseas with the military, he was attacked by a group of locals there. He wasn't shot, but they injured him to the point that he has almost no use of his right hand and limited use of his right leg. He can shoot left-handed, but after ejecting an empty magazine, he has to place the pistol in his right hand to reload it. He said that when he does this around others, they don't feel safe around him, and that he doesn't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. Not to mention that after he had shot all the ammunition he had loaded in his magazines, he couldn't reload them. When he left the office that day, I shook his hand and I told him that I would get him shooting again, the way he used to. And that's when I went to work making the AMRS. In front of me are the parts that make up the AMRS. First is the belt retention device, or belt plate. This is made out of polycarbonate to give it some strength, but still allow for flexion. This is the design that I came up with for the belt plate. However, there are a lot of other belt plates on the market that the AMRS could be adapted for. There are two holes at either end for securing it to your belt. The other holes you see are where the next piece attaches to the belt plate. There's a central hole where the screw goes through, and 3 surrounding adjustment holes to allow the wearer to adjust the angle to one they feel comfortable with. This is what makes the AMRS ambidextrous. Next is the universal shaped holster, or U-shaped holster. This attaches to the belt plate via a screw in the back of the holster. The holster also has a stabilizing post on the back side. This is what fits into the adjustment holes on the belt plate to keep the holster from rotating during movement. The front side has a universal channel that fits the next piece of the AMRS into a secure position. The final part of the AMRS is the one-piece universal base plate. This is the most important part of all. This piece replaces the factory base plate of a magazine. The top portion is manufactured to fit the magazine of choice. Below that is the riser and the universal base plate. Once placed onto a magazine, it can be inserted into the U-shaped holster on the belt, and it will hold the magazine at a 90-degree angle to the body, allowing for an automatic pistol to be reloaded using only one hand. Well, I've shown you all the parts of the AMRS. Now I'm going to show it to you in action on a little course of fire that I have set up, using only one hand. As you can see, the magazines stay in reloading position for the shooter, even during movement, and the magazine stays securely in the holster. My patient told me that the gun he likes to shoot the most are his Glocks. So this particular base plate is for a Glock G17 in 9mm. I've also created a universal base plate for the G21 in .45 caliber. But the nice thing about Glocks is that many of their magazines use similar size base plates, even though the carrier may be for different calibers. Thanks to this, I was able to create 2 base plates and cover almost all the Glock pistols. The best feature about the universal base plate is that it can be manufactured for any magazine that has a removable base plate. I have other magazines that I've been prototyping, namely the S&W M&P and the SD, not to mention the 1911. Because of this design, you could also use magazine extensions, mag weights, or even mags with grip extensions. And because of the universal base plate, you can use one U-shaped holster to fit the magazines for all of your pistols, which would make for an enjoyable day at the range since you won't be spending half your day trying to change holsters on your belt. So far, the only configuration I've shown you has been to wear the holster on your belt, which is great for competition and for outdoor ranges. But what if you're going to the range just for target practice or to an indoor range? With 2 simple holes, you can turn your plastic pistol case into a universal magazine holster by simply attaching the U-shaped holster. 2 3/8" holes are drilled into the pistol case, and the U-shaped holster is secured with the same screw used in the belt plate. Now you have a holster that can be laid on your table, shooting bench, and the pistol can be reloaded with ease from this position. This configuration is great for target shooting and also for competitions where the courses of fire are in a stationary position, such as GSSF matches. So you've had some fun at the range using your belt holster or your case holster, but now all your magazines are empty. For someone who has full use of both of their hands, reloading would be no problem. But for persons like my patient who have little to no use of one of their hands, their day at the range is over, unless of course they brought somebody to reload for them. But with the U-shaped holster mounted to the pistol case, reloading with one hand becomes much easier for those people who couldn't reload or had difficulty doing so. To reload, you start by placing the pistol case under your legs or feet with you in a seated position to hold it in place. Next, you insert the empty magazine into the holster, but backwards. Then, you can begin reloading ammunition into the holster with one hand without the magazine moving around. Now, if you're at the indoor range and can't sit down, you can place the pistol case against the partition between shooting lanes. Using this wall will allow you to put enough pressure on the carrier to insert more ammunition and still have stability. Although the AMRS is designed for use by someone with a disability of the shoulder, arm, or hand, after hours of prototyping and testing, I found that even someone with the use of both of their hands can use and enjoy the AMRS. Now that you've seen the AMRS and what it can do, I need to ask you for your help. I don't have the time, facilities, or materials to produce the amount of holsters that I feel many people will want. I know there will be some people who would like to buy them now. However, I don't have any available. And the prototyping materials that I use are good, but I don't believe they'd stand up to rigorous use over time. That is why I hope that someone watching this video can forward it on to a company or manufacturer that may be interested in picking up the AMRS, so it can be made from more resilient materials and in more variations to accommodate the many different models and calibers of guns available today. Feel free to email any questions or comments to glockeyedoc@gmail.com. Please like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter at glockeyedoc. The Second Amendment says we all have the right to bear arms. With the AMRS, even more Americans will be able to exercise this right.